Hello everybody. Today I want to talk about the importance of training with weapons in martial arts. Um, Obviously we're not talking about live weapons, because if you train with live weapons that's going to be very dangerous, and you don't want to get hurt doing something you train. That's serious anyway, that's fatal if you use live weapons. But there are those who use blunt weapons or wooden or plastic weapons. As long as they wear the correct protective gear, and they take all the safety precautions and pay for insurance and so forth. But I see that weapons is overlooked in a lot of martial arts. A lot of martial arts only practice hand-to-hand combat, karate, boxing, MMA. But obviously some of these are sports, and sport you don't practice. A lot of these sports, they don't allow you to have weapons, and it's based on rule set that you play with. So obviously they're not going to teach you weapons. But should you learn weapons for martial arts or self-defense? Yes, very much. It's depending on what country you are in, because obviously I haven't lived in America, but in America I think it's more gun culture, and weapons can be useful, but it might help if you practice using your gun, or how to understand more about the gun, and how to disarm guns and stuff. But still, in America it's good to have a weapon, understand the weapon, because sometimes it's easy just to pick up anything like a pen or a magazine or anything you can grab hold of, because sometimes your gun is always not where you put it, or you just don't have one, because I'm not sure what's the rules over there. It's not, I can't see it be too easy for everyone, although it does look quite so on the news. But anyway, where I live, there's a lot of news about stabbing, kids getting stabbed, even kids in school now. When I was young, we always thought about learning self-defense as hand-to-hand combat, and using it to stop bullies. I can't be imagining myself sending my kids to school and have to teach them how to defend against knives. That would be I don't know what the world's coming to if that happens. Because I don't believe we're like a knife culture like back in the day in the Philippines and in Malaysia, Indonesia. Hopefully we're not going to that world. Not to say that there's, I'm not sure if it is now. I think it's a lot better knife culture over there. It's not as much as it used to be, and I think that over there the penalties are quite harsh. Unlike over here, people only get like 24 years for murder and half the sentence if you do it correctly. But yeah, learning how to weapons is very important in my opinion, because you never know when someone pulls out a weapon on you. You could be like the best hand-to-hand fighter, or trained martial artist in hand-to-hand, even won world titles or amateur titles, and but you've never encountered someone with a blade or a stick or a weapon, and you are alien to that, and you freeze or you get confused, or you just don't, your brain doesn't register how to defend against that, and that it's quite normal if you're not trained in that. That's a very normal reaction. So when I do martial arts or whatever, I try to train it as much aspects and as many tools as I can to get the experience, get the knowledge, and try to get the concept. The reason why you have to get the concept is because every weapon can be quite different. Like you've got a knife or a long knife, or a sickle or a nunchuck, or a sai or tekpi, or a crambit, and some of these techniques can be quite different, especially from art to art. Not every art, some martial arts don't teach all these weapons, or they just teach what specialize in one, and they will teach you how to disarm a crumpet or a knife or a stick or a sword only, or a long stick. But you have to get the concept of it, because the weapon is just the extension of your arm. That's what I've been taught, and it is. But if you want to learn weapons as well, and anyway, before I go into that, so it's essential that you have a feel of these weapons, understand the weight and how you can use it, how you weld it, and so when you do pick one up on the street, or pick a certain weapon on the street, because the say a stick, you use it with single hand, or something a bit larger, like I think a baseball bat or something. You hold it with double hand, boom, boom, or something with a reverse blade like a crumpet, so you understand how to move with it. So it doesn't become new to you when, as well as the user, when it doesn't become new to you when you first pick something up. You don't want to just pick, like, sometimes I practice with pens or books and anything that I can get a hand of, plates, or TV remotes, or even it's basically your surroundings. Sometimes you can use your desk, or use your car steering wheel, or the seat belt on your car, or use the what do you call it? The window that closes up and down. So this just gives you an aspect of all feel the nature of different weapons, and how to defend against them. And you should always, when you practice weapons, always start slow, have feeling out sensitivity drills, or just doing drills, repeated drills instinctively before you go into more free flow. And always wear the correct protective gear. If you're doing plastic knives, you should always wear a protective eye cover. And if you're doing those Kali sticks, they wear those full body armor, and especially those medieval guys, they wear the full metal body armor, and yeah, that's very intense. They've got the shield and all the gloves, metal gauntlets and metal shields, and they practice quite realistically. In most cases, they do battlefield, and they have like 50 guys against another 50 guys, and they got like spears and axes, and I don't know if you need that right now, but it'll be experience to get to know that sort of martial arts, and get a feel of how they train in those weapons and how it feels, because they really do full contact with the blades. They're blunt, by the way, but it still hurts like hell. And people do get really injured in those. People get their eyes done, like their shoulders and their knees, and they get sometimes their fingers get chopped off accidentally when they're not wearing the gloves. If they forget, some of them become lazy. They don't wear the gloves. You always wear the correct protective gear for whatever you're training in. If your teacher recommends, try get the not the most expensive, but don't get the most cheapest. Get something that's strong and durable. At the end of the day, you're doing martial arts. The equipment you needs to be very durable. Like the plastic knives, if you buy those cheap plastic knives, they all break quite easily, and the problem with plastic knives, because of a plastic knife and a real blade, the weight is completely different, and the disarms are so different, because the plastic, they just wobble out, and they're light as well, and but if you use the real ones, you're prone to injury. That's the problem. And I don't advocate using real knives, by the way. Yeah, so weapons is definitely important to learn, but carrying a weapon isn't just about learning techniques. Say you want to learn how to weld a knife. and but you're not really. So a lot of the times people learn knife techniques, how to defend and how to strike with a knife, which is great. When two people pull out a knife, that is people always learn from when the opponent or when you pull your knife out, and then they start learning their techniques. A lot of the times is you got to learn how to react to pulling the knife out from wherever you've hidden it, concealed it, or wherever and if you're concealing it on your body, you have to learn how to conceal it without obviously people knowing, and you got to try to keep your mouth shut. And if you're one of those intense people who are targeted by whoever, gangsters or whatever, money laundering sharks or whoever, or it's just there's a price on your head, whatnot. You need to grab your knife, and you got to learn when danger comes. You need to learn to be instinctively pull the knife from your pocket or wherever you've hidden it. Say you're sleeping, you leave it by your desk, and you need to, or by your drawers, and you have to, or under your pillow. So when you wake up, the first thing you touch is your knife, okay? Or whenever you get shocked, okay? You have to have that instinctive nature, because you never know when danger will come. But you don't want to let people know. You can't just react like a madman every time someone comes in and you grab your knife, because that's going to be dangerous. And you have to conceal your knife safely. You don't want little kids or anyone to play with a real knife, especially if yours is used for self-protection. So you must learn to conceal your knife safely and effectively. And I'll talk about that another time, because that I save more for my students. But yes, practice with knives, practice with all sorts of weapons, all sorts of weapons, stick, long weapons, short weapons, bladed weapons, even something with sword and shield, or just the shield, because you never know. You need to learn how to protect, how to use something to protect, cover yourself from someone who's got a knife or a stick, and you haven't got one, and all you've got is something to protect you with your chair or table, and weapons can turn the tide. Say you're getting attacked by someone bigger than you, or some multiple opponents, or just someone bigger than you, just to make it easier, or he's better than you, and for you to be able to turn the table around against him is not to rely on your hand-to-hand techniques that you've learnt, and because he's using hand-to-hand, he's taller, he's stronger, say for example, he's tall, and he's more skilled than you. So in terms of physical, you can tell straight away, okay, this guy's going to be difficult, so how do I turn the tide? So always implementing a weapon will be always a good idea. Or if he's got a weapon and you don't, to equal that, you get a bigger weapon or some other weapon. Okay. You must treat the threat as realistically as possible. And sometimes you have to do a little bit of reenactment drills. Say, maybe don't use a knife, because sometimes even the plastic knives hurt. So sometimes I use just a bottle thing, and you just go quick and whack one another and see how many strikes you get, and defend just try not to get hit as much as possible. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave it today because I'm running out of time, and I hope you like and subscribe. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my video.